Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel this Sunday. I hope that you have had a very wonderful week this past week, a stitch-filled week. I know that I certainly have. I've continued to work on my 5 focus pieces, but I've also have a little bit of Past the Stash, a little Stitchy kindness, and a couple of finishes I want to share with you. And what I mean by that is fully finished. So let's just jump right in and I'll share with you what I've been up to. So last week, Sunday, when I left you, I picked up In My Father's House by the Bay Needlearts, and this is the piece here. And I gave it a little more love working on those window sashes. So I worked on it 2 days and I'm halfway done with the window sashing. So I still have basically 6 windows left to do, but I do have the front stoop there, or the steps, the sashing around the doorway, and all the windows on that left hand side are done, and so I'm happy about that. I'm still stitching along with my friends Rhonda and MelyEllyStitches. They're both posting on Instagram as well, and of course MelyElly has a Flosstube, which I've got linked below if you want to check her out. Rhonda's got a lot more done than me. So if you want to see Rhonda's progress on this, she's Stitching by the Pond on Instagram. I'll link her below. I think she's linked below already. She's down in the pasture is what I'm calling it, down front. It's a lot larger than a yard, so it's more like a pasture for those sheep. So she's working on hers, and I'm going to continue to work on this. I'll pick it up again this week, I believe. Well, I changed my mind, maybe not. I've got some that's really calling to me, and I'm gonna just follow my whims this week, and I'll share those with you in a minute. So I also picked up on Thursday night, I picked up another of my focus pieces, which is the Sampler Company, which is Brenda Key's, a sampler story. Let those zippers zip. Here it is here. And I'm over halfway. I made it halfway on my last video, and I started one of the squares. It's the top, well, it's top left on the second half. So right here, it's a willow tree. And there are a couple of people down below. I think there's like an, let me see. I think there's 2, it looks like maybe a father and a son. Maybe they're fishing out by the pond under the willow tree. But I got the willow tree almost complete, but I did not get to work on the children or the people. And now that I'm thinking about it, there's a female there too, like she's maybe a little girl that's trying to climb the tree. And I've got her hair there, so you can see out to the left-hand side of the square, that brown, that's the little girl's hair. So the tree is complete, and now I just have the 3 people to stitch in, and so I'm almost completed with that square. So I'm going to pick this one up. Probably, I think I'm going to start with this one tonight, finishing this square up before I move on to something else. I had a stitchy weekend with a couple of friends this weekend, my friend Kitty and Natasha, Stitcherella here on Flosstube. I'll link her below. I went up yesterday, spent the whole day. I was supposed to stay the night, but I'm just shy of an hour away from Natasha, and the later it got, the more I wanted to be home. I wanted to stitch, but I wanted my own bed, and so I think I stayed till about 11 or shortly before 11, and I traveled home, and I missed out on their 2 finishes. Both of them, one of them had a finish of a big portion, an outline of a big section of One Nation, and then Natasha had a finish on a Blackbird piece, because you know, yesterday was the Blackbird design stitch along with Laura and Brenda, and we joined in, Natasha and I did, but Natasha had a finish. So go over to Instagram, Stitcherella, I think it's Stitcherella 47, I'll link that below too, and see her finish on Feliz Navidad. But so this was with me when I went, and there was no work on it because I worked on the Blackbird design piece, and I worked on my Redwork sampler to get my stitches in for the day. Speaking of the Redwork sampler, this is by Mojo Stitches, I have continued to work one red thread before bed. And so this is the piece. Now the last time you saw it, I had finished everything above this berry vine here. So this week, my goal was to finish the berry vine and to finish this row of letters here, the first large row of letters. And let me show you how I did on my goal. So yes, I finished the line of the berries on the vine. I did not quite finish those letters. These were easy. I know a couple of the weeks I was able to finish 2 rows in a week. This one is just, I think that just that the letters are a little bit larger, so you get a little less done. Not less done, because they're larger, there's more stitching in those than the smaller alphabet. So, so the goal this week for me will be to finish that row and make good progress on the second one. I would like to actually finish that second row as well, because it was really hard to put this one down a couple of nights this week. It's about halfway. I think when I finish that that first row of large alphabet, it's going to be halfway, and it's really hard to put down now that I'm getting close. So I'm going to give it one good push this week, finish this row up, start the next one, and then I'm sure I'm going to have a May finish on this one. So that one red thread a day, like I said last week, you make a lot more progress than you think, and several of you have jumped on board to join in with me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure all of you have been making progress too. I love to see it. A couple of you have tagged me with one red thread before bed, and thank you for that as well. Any of y'all want to jump in, it's perfectly fine. Please do. I love to see your progress on your pieces, just like you're joining in with me each weekend to see progress on mine. So it just makes me smile when I see that, because like minds think alike. We love our stitching. So like I said, going back to the Redwork sampler, I'm going to continue to work on that one thread before bed each night this week. And then I think the following week, I'm really going to start focusing to get this one finished. So I'll be doing more than just the one red thread. Okay, the other one that's been really calling to me this week, other than the Redwork, is my Alphabet Zoo. It was really hard not to go ahead and start another square this week. I did finish a square. Oops, hold on just a second. I pulled out the pattern and not the pattern cover. So this is Blue Ribbon Designs Alphabet Zoo. I'm using DMC, I always forget whether it's 3362 or 3363. And I don't have my spares in here. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It's 3362. Several of you have commented on this piece on Instagram and here that you love the shade of green. It is DMC 3362. I'm stitching one strand of thread over 2 linen threads on 40 count. So this week I finished up the letter B. So with this pattern, it's easy to read. It's printed on good paper, and one page is actually 4 letters. So this week I should finish up F, and then I'll move to the next set over to the right. To the right of that page, so the next page. And it's been so much fun. There is one specialty stitch in there. There is Smyrna crosses and the large letter of the alphabet. If you can do a cross stitch, you can do a Smyrna cross, because it's just another cross over the top of the initial cross. So if you're concerned about there being the specialty stitches there, don't. I know you can do it, I promise. And if you don't think you can figure it out, just message me, email me. I'll help you out with that. You're not going to have a problem though. So there's that. And this one I started on April 15th for BRD for Blue Ribbon Designs, Tax Day Sal. There's still a few of us that are stitching along on this. I know my friend Mary, which is Stitcher 211, she's stitching along on hers, and it's beautiful. Hers is, I think it's reds and blacks, and it's just so pretty. So check her out on her Instagram to see how she's doing on hers. And then my next one is yesterday. There was a Blackbird, not Bluebird, Blackbird Designs Stitch Along hosted by Brenda the Sampler Starter, Brenda the Sampler Stitcher, and Laura the Serial Starter here on Flosstube. Many of you know about it, and if you don't, you just use that hashtag as BBD. You know what? Let me link it below because my mind just went blank. But it was to work on a Blackbird design yesterday on Saturday. And I joined in along with my friend Natasha because I was with her yesterday. And I picked up another whip. I did not want to make another start. And I had this as a whip. I've gotten a lot of questions. This is a simple wish. And a lot of people commented on my Instagram post that they've not seen this one. Now, I don't know if it is in one of the collection books by Blackbird where they put past class pieces, but this is a piece that was a kit, and it was given at either a retreat or a class, but it was given to a friend of mine, and she didn't want it. She gifted it to me. Now, I started this in Mania of 2018, and I just barely got that pink flower, the large pink flower there. I picked it up again last year for a little bit and worked on the urn that the flower is in. And so yesterday I did a little bit more, and you're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, too well. But I put in some lines. There's some lettering here, like I think Barb Adams is here on this line, and then above it is a partial alphabet. I think it's up through J. And so I worked all of that yesterday with Natasha and Kitty, and then I put in a couple of the leaves, and I put in a couple of the tiny motifs. I don't know if you can see them, but there was a lot of comments, so I can't tell you some of those that have large Blackbird design collections, because by all the Blackbirds, they may be able to tell you, maybe if you know, to comment below where did my pattern cover go? If you know if this is in one of the books, so that those watching can read your comment and purchase it if it's available. So there's that. And this one, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll have to watch the video again how that stitch along runs. I'm thinking you stitch on it the first Saturday of each month. If that's the case, like I said, I need to rewatch it to make sure I'm correct about that. If you know that, answer below too. But what I would like to do is continue with that stitch along, continue to support my Flosstube friends, and to stitch along with all my friends out there that joined in yesterday. So this one may be going away for a few weeks, and hopefully by the time I pull it out again, I'll have a finish on that Redwork sampler. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So yesterday, after spending some time with my friend Natasha, we got there early yesterday morning, and I drove up, and when I got there, she had a little gift for the two of us there, and we have some fabric. Isn't that pretty? And some linen and a Victorian Mojo thread, and this is Rosebud. Isn't that a beautiful color? And then she gave us a little notebook, and it's so cute, and the lace. So I've got everything I need basically to have a little finish, because inside the little book, and it says "Let's be friends." I took some notes, and she had kitted that fabric up, and that lace and that linen for this Thistles freebie. Now that's the design. The designer name. And it's just a little ABC chart. So keep that in mind, and then I'll share with you the things she gave us to finish it up again. Now, I've done this very same thing before when I would be with friends or a group of friends and we were meeting, is to kit up a little freebie project to gift to everyone. And it's a wonderful idea, but my idea was actually borrowed from Natasha, because years ago we were attending the Pals Cross Stitch retreat in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and she would always gift those of us that were, you know, you had those friends you sit with most every time. And she would always kit up a little something for everyone. And that's actually, if you remember a couple of videos back, I think I have it here somewhere. Actually, I don't know where I stuck it, but I took a small La-Di-Da freebie and placed that in, sewed it into a project bag. That was one that Natasha had gifted years ago as well. So great idea, just throwing that out there. If you're like me and you want to borrow that idea from Natasha, I really like it. I really like it. So it gives me something I can work on, make a finish, and then every time I see it finished, I will think of Kitty and Natasha. And speaking of finishing, I did not meet my goal with finishing 2 pieces in April, fully finishing past pieces. I did not get it done. I had plans to do it last Friday, and we had unexpected guests here at the house, which is perfectly fine. Things like that do not bother me. But I planned on coming home from work and getting right to finishing those things up and making a couple of bags, and like I said, that didn't happen. So this past Friday was April 30th, and I thought I want to get them finished on the 30th. So once again, my plan was to finish them up on Friday night. Well, work ran really late. I got off after 7 o'clock, and I did not want to cook dinner, so my husband and I went out to eat. And the restaurant at, it's an odd situation. Several of the restaurants in my area are closing during the morning hours. They're having problems finding people to work. And because of that, they're shortening their opening times so that it's during, I guess, during their peak hours, which would be in the PM hours for dinner. And they're not opening till like 4 p.m. So with that being said, there were lots of people there. It's Friday night. People are in the restaurant. They're short-staffed, once again, because they can't get people to work. And I know that's happened to at least 3 or 4 restaurants in my area. And so there was a long wait. So there was like a hour wait to 30 minutes to an hour wait to eat, and about that long once you get in to have your food. And we didn't care. I'd had a long work day. It's in this place in our town where you can just sit back and relax, and people are mingling around, and you can people watch. You just sit and you just people watch. And we ran up to some friends that we haven't seen for probably 6-8 months. And they were walking into the restaurant because they'd been called because their table was ready. And when they realized we were sitting there waiting, they're like, come on in, have dinner with us. And it was so wonderful. It was wonderful. So that day ran a lot longer. So something that maybe would have taken us a couple of hours to get there, have dinner, leave. We sat and just chatted, and it was soothing balm to my soul just to sit and chat with friends. So with that being said, that was a long story just to say I did not get that finishing done on the 30th of April. So today we had plans to ride to the coast. It's a cloudy, dreary day. It was drizzling this morning. We decided not to drive down to the coast and not be able to enjoy the coast. So I did some finishing. Didn't get everything done. The day is not done. I'm just doing the video. But I started by making another Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch bag, zippered pouch. And I lined it with the same fabric that's there. And I've got some past the stash that I'm going to kit up and stuff in this one, but I really love this fabric. I'd forgotten all about it. I'm searching through my fabric because a friend of mine had invited me to do a bag exchange with her. So we're both going to stitch bags, 2 bags of our choosing, and we're going to switch one with each other, which I think is a great idea. But with that being said, I was digging through my stash and I found this. And I had already, I was digging through the stash to find fabric for a finish. So since I already had it out to make another finish on a previous cross stitch finish, I made a bag. So I made this bag, and then that dragonfly Elizabeth Designs piece that I've finished and everyone's commented on about the satin stitches, and that's it. So I finished this up into a scissors pillow. I did not have any kind of pattern to go by. What I did was, let me see if I can find it here. There is a Hands On Designs scissors pillow that has, I don't remember the design on it. I just Googled it. I Googled scissors pillow, and that one popped up. But I also remember one, I believe that was by Little House Needleworks, that was finished similar. And so I had that in my mind. And so I pulled, like I said, I was looking for fabrics for this, and I pulled the polka dot green and the yellow. The green was not matchy-matchy. As you can see here, it's a little more prominent with that light shining on it. But I broke that color up on the advice of my friend Mary, and I put like a beige fabric here that really worked well with the flowers, and used this green polka dot. And I put I did the finish where you cut a hole, you sew all the way around, cut a snip in the back, turn it inside out, and then just put a patch on it. So I did that, and it looks a little lumpy. I've ironed it. I don't know why it's looking lumpy all of a sudden. But that's it. So it's the same fabric from this piece in my scissors pillow. I love it. I love it. So if you've been with me some time, you know that I've been focusing on finishing prior finishes. And if you're new here, basically that I'm mentioning that just to let you know that I've been focusing this year on working on my confidence for finishing my cross stitch pieces, because I have a bin, like many of us, full of fully finished cross stitch items that I'm not doing anything with. And so each time I finish one, I attempt to try something new. Now with this one, it was, once again, it was a journey. I'm not a sewer by trade. I'm self-taught. I'm taught by Missouri Star Quilt Company YouTube videos and Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, and anyone that does those tutorials, I'm watching to pick up new tools to put in my tool belt for when I'm finishing. And I made mistakes on this one, and I had to seam rip. And I know that next time I make one, for whatever reason, I won't make those same mistakes. I may make others, but with every finish, I get more confident. So I just mentioned that again, and I think I mention it in any video that I'm showing these finishes. Don't be afraid to finish your pieces. I had that taught with my friends this weekend. You definitely can do it. If I can do it, you guys can do it. Watch the videos. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. We all make mistakes. I'm sure that Vanna and Elizabeth Ann, who finish beautiful things, they make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. You're not going to learn if you don't give it a try. If I can do it, if Vanna can do it, if Elizabeth Ann can do it, you can do it. I promise. I promise. So once again, this is my finish. And now let's get into a little past the stash and a little bit of haul. So I ordered a couple of things off of Country Stitches, which is Brenda Gervais' site. And they actually were here sitting on me when I got home last night. So This is actually not by Brenda, but this is the Friendship Tree by Shakespeare's Peddler. And so it is two ladies up under a tree there. So kind of, it's sort of like an Adam and Eve, but those are two ladies there below, and it's titled Friendship. So maybe they're under the friendship tree. And then I picked up this one. My whole reason for going to our site was this pattern here. It's Caroline Amelia Trowel. If you've not seen this one, I just think it's beautiful, and it says, "Beauty's a blossom that soon fades away. But virtue is a flower that never decays." I love that funky bird, the house. I recently saw someone that had taken one row of elements out of a sampler and made it into a drum. Brilliant idea, brilliant. But this is a beautiful sampler. Can stitch it as a whole, or as I said, take someone else's idea and do a drum out of one element. And then I also picked up, I finally got my hands on one of her kits. So this is ABC, My Pins and Me, where you make a little alphabet tomato with the printed alphabet fabric that she has. So everything I need inside is there, the instructions, the supplies, and I look forward to getting this finished up. So this is something you'll probably definitely see here in May that I'm going to finish up. And then let's go past the stash. So my friend, I've got one more I've got one more piece of haul. Let me pull the receipt out of the front of it. This is an old chart by Paulette Stewart. And this will be I'll probably pick up fabric for this month and make a start after I finish Redwork sampler. So this is the Queen's Crowns, and it says Gloriana, and it's all different types of crowns, and it is done in a red thread. So once I finish up Redwork sampler, I'm going to make a start on this shortly thereafter, and this will be my one red thread before bed. Now let's go to the past the stash. So my friend Kitty brought to our little get together yesterday a box of maybe things she had in duplicate, things that were passed to her, and passed them to us, the things that she either already had or had already stitched. You know how it goes. So I have a little stack. I have some Lizzie Kates, I have some Prairie Schoolers Santas, but I'm going to share those things with you real quick. So she had several of the Prairie Schooler Santas, and I'm very late on this boat with these. I've just started collecting them this year. I had a few that I picked up over time, but I would love, as so many do, is have a Prairie Schooler Santa tree. So this is one of the cards. So I do have this one. And then I think this was the first one. Is this the 1984? Yes. This is the 1997. I just saw someone finish this one up on Instagram. This is the 1999. The 2007. So a knitting Santa. 2008 Santa, the sledding Santa. And the 2009, which is a hockey Santa. And then I picked up, out of that box, a few of the Lizzie Kate Halloweens. I don't stitch a lot of Halloween. I was laughing about it yesterday, talking to the girls about it, because I don't stitch a lot of Halloween, but I love the colors that Halloween pieces are stitched with. This is one of the rows. This is the Easter row, and then it's a complete set of these charts to make this snowman piece. So I picked up all of those. And then I picked up a couple of the Little House Needleworks. This is the Hometown Holidays. I love how Deb of Country Stitchers picked out just a few that she liked, and I think she's on her second round, but she made like a town street scape of just a few of these, and you know, added elements, added additional snowbanks or additional trees or whatever, so that it worked well together. And I have picked up a few of those after seeing hers, inspired by hers, and these were in that pack. So this is the Needlework shop, and I couldn't remember if I had this or not. It would seem like I would have it, right? It's a Needlework shop, but I couldn't remember. And the other one is the Firehouse. I knew this was in my wish list, but I didn't have it, so I'm thankful to have those. And then this is Lantern Lane. This was that stitch along everyone was doing with Chelsea and Priscilla a couple of years ago, and I never got on board, but after seeing everyone stitch it, it would be beautiful displayed at Christmas. I picked up this one. And then these, I've seen a few of you all stitching this one, and I want to do it, but I want to do it minus the letters. So this is the Little House Needleworks ABC samplers. So I only have a few of them, but all of them are in my wish list too. So I have number 5, which is LMN, and then I have OPQ and DE. So I'm happy about having those. I want to stitch them all on one piece. I've seen several people do them, and different ones have experimented and changed up the house colors, which I think is a great idea too. But you can't always tell, make the choice to change the colors until you actually pull the colors, because we all know about the pattern pictures always are not always accurate. And then I picked up this. I love Barbara Anna. I love her use of bright, cheery, happy colors. I love her samplers too. And so I picked up this one. This is Barbara Anna Designs Hummingbird Scissors Fob, just because I love the colors. It looks to be a fun, happy, easy stitch. This is a weekend project that'll bring you happiness. And so I picked that one out. And these are a couple of really old ones. I know that I have one of these. I wasn't sure about the other. This is the Needles Praise, and this is the Honeysuckle Sampler. I was collecting those when I first started with Flosstube, because I had picked up a thrifted box of old cross-stitch magazines from the 80s and early 90s. And in the back, you know, the designers had their ads, and one of them was Needles Praise, and I discovered her along with a couple of the older designers, and I went on the search for these, and I was gifted some. I purchased some off of eBay, and I just didn't want to turn this up if there was a chance that I may not have it, so I brought it home. And the other one was Words of Praise. Now, I did finish one of these last year. I do have the chart, but my chart is definitely from the 80s, and it is hand charted, and it is on legal size copy paper. This is an actual chart. So I picked up this. This is the Trust Sampler by Words of Praise, and I love it. So now I have actually 2 copies, but of course I didn't even look to see if this is hand printed or hand charted or not. Oh yeah, buddy. Not only is it difficult to stitch a chart like this, could you imagine having to chart a chart like this? Now, here's one I'm not sure if I'll stitch or not, but I took it because it's a Stitcher's Verse. And I think this is another one that I want to say was in my local shop. Now, one of my local friends are watching this. Wasn't this in in Counted Stitches when it was there? And this is the Stitcher's Verse. And I won't read it to you because I don't have my glasses near me and I can't see it. It's all a blur. And then I picked up a Jeanette Douglas design, Take Time to Stitch. And then I picked up a few Prairie Schoolers that I didn't have. And this has been it makes me smile to pick up something like this. This is a very loved chart to the point where it had to be taped. It's been loved, it's been used. This is the garden alphabet. So you can see where it was probably creased and put in a project bag while whoever originally owned this stitched it. And then they taped the front, must have come loose a little bit. Let me see if you can, nope. It was right on the edge of one of the blocks, so you know what goes there, so it didn't distort any of the charting. And then I picked up Barnyard Christmas, which I didn't have, and so many of you have stitched it and finished the pieces up beautifully. And then a Prairie Year. There's several of these in here that I like. I love the patriotic one. I love the pumpkin. I love everything Christmas and Thanksgiving and patriotic and watermelon, summer. Beautiful, beautiful little pieces. Quick little weekend projects. So, have I talked your ear off enough this week? I had a few questions last week. And I used my needle threader to mark the page this time. But I shared this book last week, and this is Tending the Garden, and it is a Blackbird design. Some of you thought that all of the projects in here are cross-stitched. They're not. There are 2 projects in this booklet that are cross-stitch. The rest are for quilting. And so I'm going to share them with you again. So there's this one, My Grandmother's Garden. Now, I think that Kim Goldman shared this one in her most recent video, this book too. And I think you were planning on kitting this one up, or it will be soon to be a new start. Anyway, go watch Kim's video so you can see it. And then this is the other one, which is just a little pin keep that was finished up with the stringed pearls. So I will link this below. I did not, I apologize. Not linking this one below last week. I didn't expect there to be the questions about it that they were, so I want you to have access so you can take a look for yourself, so I'll link it below. And I hope everyone has a great week, that you get all the stitching done, that you reach your goals you set for stitching and otherwise. It's warming up here in South Carolina. Things are blooming. We've got windy, warm but not hot days. It's just pleasant. This time of year is wonderful. So I'm enjoying it. I'm out in the yard a lot. My flowers are blooming. I love to see that. The squirrels are running across the yard every morning, eating our bird seed. Eating the bird seed. It's not my bird seed. I gifted it to the birds, but the squirrels think it belongs to them. So we love to sit and have breakfast in the mornings and watch those squirrels be mischievous. So enjoy your week. Find happiness in all that you do. Cross a few X's, and I'll see you again next weekend. Bye-bye.